Welcome. Today, we'll explore how people learn a second language, a process known as second language acquisition, or SLA. Whether you're a language learner, teacher, or just curious, understanding SLA theories can help you see why some methods work better than others. We'll cover the main ideas behind how languages are acquired, the importance of input and output, and the roles that social and cognitive factors play. By the end, you'll have a clearer picture of the science behind language learning and practical tips for applying these theories. Let's dive in and discover what makes learning a new language possible for everyone. Second language acquisition, or SLA, is the field that studies how people learn languages other than their mother tongue. It looks at the mental, social, and environmental factors that influence language learning. SLA isn't just about memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about understanding how language is processed, stored, and used in real-life situations. Researchers have developed several theories to explain why some learners succeed more quickly and why certain teaching methods are more effective. These theories guide both classroom practice and self-study, shaping how we approach language learning today. There are several major theories in SLA that help explain how we learn a second language. These include universal grammar, Krashen's monitor model, the interaction hypothesis, and sociocultural theory. Each theory offers a unique perspective, focusing on different aspects of the learning process. Some emphasize the importance of innate structures in the brain, while others highlight the role of social interaction or emotional factors. By understanding these theories, we can better tailor language learning strategies to individual needs and contexts. Universal grammar, or UG, is a theory proposed by Noam Chomsky. It suggests that all humans are born with an innate set of grammatical rules shared by all languages. When learning a second language, exposure to new input triggers these internal frameworks, helping learners unconsciously grasp the structure of the new language. This means that some aspects of grammar come naturally, even without explicit instruction. UG explains why learners often pick up certain patterns, like subject-verb order, without being taught directly. According to universal grammar, learners unconsciously internalize the syntactic rules common to all languages. When exposed to a new language, they set parameters based on the input they receive. For example, if a language places the verb before the object, learners adjust their internal grammar accordingly. Cognitive psychology supports this idea, showing that some grammatical structures emerge naturally, even without explicit teaching. This helps explain why children and adults can often pick up new languages with surprising ease, especially when immersed in meaningful communication. In the classroom, universal grammar can be applied by highlighting common syntax patterns that align with universal rules. Teachers might use sentence completion activities or pattern awareness tasks to help students notice these structures. The goal is to support learners' natural intuitions, allowing them to tune into the language's patterns without heavy grammar instruction. This approach encourages learners to trust their instincts and develop fluency through exposure and practice, rather than memorization. Stephen Krashen's monitor model is one of the most influential frameworks in SLA. It consists of 5 interrelated hypotheses: the input hypothesis, acquisition, learning distinction, monitor hypothesis, natural order hypothesis, and effective filter hypothesis. Together, these ideas explain how learners process language, the difference between subconscious and conscious learning, and how emotions affect progress. Krashen's model has shaped language teaching around the world, emphasizing the importance of meaningful input and low-stress environments. The input hypothesis states that learners acquire language best when they receive input that is just slightly above their current level, what Krashen calls I+1. This means that language should be understandable, but also challenging enough to promote growth. For example, listening to stories or conversations that introduce new words and structures helps learners stretch their abilities without feeling overwhelmed. The key is to keep input engaging and meaningful, so learners stay motivated and attentive. Krashen distinguishes between acquisition and learning. Acquisition is a subconscious, natural process, similar to how children pick up their first language. It happens through meaningful exposure in low-pressure settings, like casual conversations or storytelling. Learning, on the other hand, is conscious and deliberate, involving grammar study and memorization. According to Krashen, acquired language is used fluently and intuitively, while learned knowledge mainly helps with editing and correction, not spontaneous speech. The monitor hypothesis suggests that consciously learned grammar acts as a monitor or editor. After producing speech, learners can use their learned knowledge to check for errors and make corrections. However, this monitoring process is slow and not suitable for real-time conversation. That's why fluency relies more on acquired language, while learned grammar is best used for editing written work or preparing for formal situations. Krashen's natural order hypothesis claims that language is acquired in predictable grammatical sequences. This means that certain structures are learned before others, regardless of how they are taught. For example, learners might naturally pick up plurals before mastering verb tenses. Teachers can use this knowledge to design lessons that align with the natural order, making learning smoother and more effective. The affective filter hypothesis explains that emotions like anxiety and stress can block language input from being processed. When learners feel relaxed and confident, their affective filter is low, allowing more language to be absorbed. On the other hand, high stress raises the filter and makes learning harder. This is why creating a supportive, low-pressure environment is so important for language classrooms. To clarify, acquisition is a subconscious process that happens through meaningful exposure, like listening to stories or engaging in conversation. It's similar to how children learn their first language, and it leads to fluent, intuitive use. Learning, by contrast, is conscious and involves studying grammar rules and practicing in structured settings. Krashen argues that consciously learned knowledge mainly helps with editing and correction, not with spontaneous speech. This distinction helps explain why immersion and real-life practice are so effective for language learners. In practice, Krashen's model suggests using pair-based communicative tasks, storytelling, and slow-paced audio materials to build fluency. Teachers should avoid overt corrections and prioritize comprehensible input, content that is engaging and just above the learner's current level. Grammar study should support, not dominate, classroom time. The key is to balance subconscious immersion with conscious practice, tailoring activities to the learner's maturity, exposure, and goals. The interaction hypothesis proposed by Michael Long emphasizes the importance of social engagement in language learning. According to this theory, negotiation and communicative exchange drive SLA. When learners interact, ask for clarification, and reformulate their language, they process input more deeply and internalize new structures. This social aspect of language learning helps learners notice gaps in their knowledge and encourages active participation. The classroom, interaction-rich environments are created through pair and group tasks that require learners to clarify meaning and negotiate understanding. When students ask questions like, "Could you repeat that?" or "What does this mean?" they are actively engaging with the language. This process helps them notice new structures, internalize vocabulary, and become more confident communicators. Teachers can design activities that prompt these interactions, making learning more dynamic and effective. Negotiation in conversation, such as asking for clarification or reformulating sentences, helps learners process input more deeply. This not only improves comprehension, but also encourages learners to notice and correct their own mistakes. Over time, these negotiation strategies lead to greater language awareness and more accurate use of grammar and vocabulary. The classroom becomes a space for meaningful communication, not just rote practice. To apply the interaction hypothesis, Teachers can design activities that require students to work together and clarify meaning. Examples include information gap tasks, role plays, and group projects. These activities encourage learners to use the language in real situations, fostering both fluency and accuracy. By making interaction a central part of the classroom, teachers help students become more confident and effective communicators. Sociocultural theory, SCT, inspired by Vygotsky, views language learning as a socially mediated process. According to SCT, learners develop language skills through interaction with more knowledgeable peers or teachers. The concept of the zone of proximal development, ZPD, describes the space where learners can achieve more with guidance than they could alone. This theory highlights the importance of collaboration, scaffolding, and social support in language learning. The zone of proximal development, or ZPD, is a key idea in sociocultural theory. It refers to the range of tasks a learner can perform with help, but not yet independently. In language learning, this means that with the support of teachers or peers, learners can tackle more complex language tasks. Over time, as they gain confidence and skill, they become able to perform these tasks on their own. ZPD underscores the value of guided practice and collaborative learning. Scaffolding is the process of providing temporary support to help learners accomplish tasks they couldn't do alone. In language classrooms, this might involve peer-assisted writing, group activities, or teacher modeling, such as thinking aloud while solving a problem. As learners become more capable, the support is gradually removed, allowing them to work independently. Scaffolding helps learners build confidence and master new language skills step by step. Peer-assisted learning is a practical application of sociocultural theory. By working together on writing tasks or group projects, learners can share knowledge and support each other's growth. More advanced students can model language use and offer feedback, while less experienced learners benefit from observing and practicing in a supportive environment. This collaborative approach fosters a sense of community and accelerates language development. Teacher modeling, such as think alouds, is another way to scaffold language learning. When teachers verbalize their thought process while solving a problem or composing a sentence, students gain insight into how language is used in real time. This strategy makes invisible processes visible, helping learners internalize new structures and strategies. Over time, students can adopt these approaches and apply them independently. Each SLA theory offers a different perspective on language learning. Universal grammar focuses on innate structures. Krashen's monitor model emphasizes input and effective factors. The interaction hypothesis highlights social negotiation, and sociocultural theory centers on mediation and scaffolding. By comparing these theories, we see that language learning is a complex process influenced by both internal and external factors. Effective teaching draws on insights from all these approaches. Input and output are central to all SLA theories. Input refers to the language learners hear or read, while output is the language they produce. Comprehensible input helps learners internalize new structures, while producing output allows them to practice and refine their skills. Both are necessary for developing fluency and accuracy. Teachers can design activities that balance input and output, such as listening tasks followed by speaking or writing exercises. SLA is shaped by both cognitive and social factors. Cognitive factors include memory, attention, and the ability to recognize patterns. Social factors involve interaction, motivation, and cultural context. Successful language learning happens when these elements work together, when learners are motivated, engaged, and exposed to meaningful input in supportive environments. Understanding these factors helps teachers and learners create more effective strategies. For language learners, applying SLA theories means seeking out meaningful input, practicing regularly, and engaging in real communication. Try listening to podcasts, joining conversation groups, or writing stories. Don't worry about making mistakes. Focus on understanding and being understood. Remember, fluency develops over time through exposure, interaction, and practice. Use grammar study to support your progress, but prioritize activities that immerse you in the language. Teachers can apply SLA theories by creating supportive, interaction-rich classrooms. Use a mix of input-focused and output-focused activities, encourage peer collaboration, and provide scaffolding when needed. Avoid overemphasizing grammar drills. Focus instead on meaningful communication and real-life tasks. Monitor students' emotional well-being and adjust activities to keep anxiety low. By drawing on multiple theories, teachers can meet the diverse needs of their students. To sum up, second language acquisition is a complex process influenced by innate structures, meaningful input, social interaction, and emotional factors. Theories like universal grammar, Krashen's monitor model, the interaction hypothesis, and sociocultural theory each offer valuable insights. By understanding and applying these ideas, both learners and teachers can make language learning more effective and enjoyable. Remember, language learning is a journey. Embrace the process and celebrate your progress. As you continue your language learning journey, keep these theories in mind. Experiment with different strategies, seek out opportunities for real communication, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Whether you're a teacher or a learner, understanding the science behind SLA can help you make informed choices and stay motivated. Language learning opens doors to new cultures, friendships, and opportunities, so keep exploring, practicing, and growing.